Good morning and welcome back to the one Celtic fans view this Monday morning. Monday morning, the day after the night before, or just the day after that terrible performance in the second half. When are Celtic ever going to get a really good game? It's not been since we played Dundee and we absolutely hammered Dundee at Celtic Park that we've played one touch pass football, that we've really been on our game. And I think it's starting to get jittery time for Celtic fans. But I think we'll still win the league. And I think the manager maybe did one thing wrong yesterday. And I think he took James. I mean, who takes James Forrest off when he's got the chance of scoring 3 goals? Who does that? But Brendan Rodgers did it. Let's listen to this to see what other people are saying about Celtic and James Forrest.
Hi, just a quick sort of retort to the last comment, to the last guy. I see his point. This is old Jackie Jakanowski against Partizan Belgrade or Tirana. But my main point is James Forrest. I recall, hopefully you can recall this as well. But 6-7 years ago, James Forrest wanted to leave Celtic because he felt he was injury prone. He wasn't contributing enough. He wanted a transfer request, not because he wanted to leave Celtic, because of his points. And he scored in like the last, God knows how many seasons.
15.
He's just been a total enigma.
15.
Totally brilliant. He's been like the guy, two-footed goals, left foot, right foot. I wouldn't lie as well. Me and I thought he should go on as a sub rather than start, but we were proved wrong. And he's just been totally brilliant for Celtic over the seasons, and he's not got the credit he deserves. And he, as I said, they want to leave Celtic because of the reason I've quoted earlier.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably thought James Forrest wasn't really going to play much of a part for the rest of this season.
People have been saying this about James Forrest for long enough, and every time James Forrest, and I've told you, look, when you look at the wingers, even Brendan Rodgers has said it. He said he's one of the wingers that knows how to play football. He knows when to stick to the touchline. He knows when to cut inside just before the box, just before the 18-yard box. He knows to cut inside then, because players then back off from him because they're not sure if he's going to shoot and they're not sure if he's going to pass. But the amount of goals James Forrest has scored from the edge of the box. When was the last time James scored a goal that was within the 6-yard box? Never. Well, there's probably been one or two, but the majority, the 90% of his goals have come from the edge of the box.
Looked out the picture, he wasn't making the bench at times, and all of a sudden, he's been spoken about in glowing terms by Brendan Rodgers. He's in the starting lineup today, scores 2 crucial goals, and it now looks as if, is he now sort of undroppable for the next?
Yes, he is undroppable. He's one of those players that's the same as the players in the defence. You get a settled one and you make sure that you play him. Brendan Rodgers called him the godfather of winning at Celtic because of the amount of trophies that James Forrest has won over the last 15 seasons. And you get people saying that he's no use for Celtic. What James Forrest brings to the table, not just in what he does on the pitch, but what James Forrest brings to the table off the pitch, that experience that he can hand down to younger members of the Celtic playing staff is invaluable. You cannot buy that kind of experience. You cannot buy that experience, and, people need to lay off him a bit. And Brendan Rodgers needs to play him more. It's as simple as that.
Next game?
Well, he's certainly the guy in form. And why would you leave him out at this stage? You can call it whatever you like: Indian summer, re-emergence, regeneration, anything you like. He looks as if he's really enjoying himself. He has a real sense of purpose about him. And he took both his goals exceptionally well. And as I say, I think he's a human being. He's enjoying this belated attention that has come his way, with people saying, look, we need James Forrest, as opposed to, why have we got James Forrest in the team?
I don't think that's the case, because anybody that knows James Forrest knows that he's a level-headed, down-to-earth guy, and he knows it's a team game. And if you listen to the interviews that he does on television, he knows it is a squad game. He knows that you have to have bigger squads at Celtic. If you look at the wingers that have came and gone over the years that have tried to push James Forrest out the team, that have then left Celtic because they are not deemed good enough for the long term, but James Forrest is still here. Now, that's not by default. That's due to the fact that every manager rates him. It's as simple as that.
And I think right now, That's the reason why I certainly would not contemplate leaving him out under any circumstances.
Right now, Hugh, you've got to say, right, and it's very easy because you're sitting here, he's been given an opportunity. In my opinion, and you look at the wingers that Celtic have got, I think James Forrest is better than anyone.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Of
In my opinion.
miles,
Brendan Rodgers has said that
miles.
himself, that he's the best winger at the club.
100%.
Yep.
Now, it's up to why Brendan Rodgers hasn't played them in recent games. That's up to him. He's
Well, I
the
mean,
manager.
the excuse he gave was that he doesn't think that James Forrest can play with the intensity that other wingers can play at. But when you look at his performance today, so does that say differently?
So nobody will tell me James Forrest can't play with that, because you look
Brendan Rodgers was telling.
But you look at and Hugh's favourite, Yang, and I still say I think we're too hard on him. He's a young boy. He'll come in.
Oh, come on, he's a young boy, right? Celtic put out people the same age as Yang out on loan. Why should we take in this guy from abroad and put him on some kind of pedestal when he's not good enough? But players that come through the Celtic system at the same age are deemed not good enough and put out on loan. I don't buy that narrative one bit.
I think it's another season or two. You look at Kuhn today, right? Intensity, I didn't see it.
No.
You look at Palmer when he comes on, intensity, didn't see it. So, James,
I would even say Rio Hatate was off the ball yesterday. He has no pace. He's no pace in midfield. You've seen players running away from him. You've seen him stretching and everything when he came on in the second half. He's another player that some people are saying that ever since Ange walked away and he never got that transfer that he was looking for last season, that, I mean, people were saying, stay off Rio Hatate's back. He's just back. You got to remember, his form this season has been absolutely terrible. So there's a number of players. It's not just one or two players. There's a number of players whose form this year. And then don't get onto this narrative that it's Brendan Rodgers that's training this into them. Not a chance. I think that Brendan Rodgers has been stuck with a number of players that are not Celtic standard that he would have expected. His first time round, there's none of these players that are in the squad that could dislodge any player that was in Brendan's team first time round.
Forrest still has a lot to offer Celtic, and he's starting to show that. James Forrest will be a massive player for him to run in, and he'll definitely, surely play next week.
Even if he's not showing or can't show the intensity, whatever way Brendan Rodgers worded it, if he can't show that, is the fact that he is contributing in terms of scoring goals and having big moments in the limited time that he's on the pitch, can that just weigh it out, essentially?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's any coincidence the positions he finds himself in today when he scores his goals. His game intelligence is first class, and that's what you get when you get a 30-plus-year-old winger who's got the medal collection and the experiences as James Forrest has. He knows when to come off the line and come inside. He knows when to stay wide and keep his width. His movement's great. His work rate, he'll never let Celtic down in that respect. And I will agree with the guys at this moment in time, he does look your best bet. With Dyson Maeda out injured, he is your best bet in the wide areas. Definitely. And he's every right in keeping his place. I can't see how you leave him out.
You can't leave him out. That's it. It's as simple as that. You can't leave James Forrest out. What do you think about that? Tell me in the comments. Are they talking sense? Or what has Brendan been playing at this season? I mean, we understand what Brendan's doing. It's obviously he's had these new players that have came in. He knows what he gets from James Forrest. So he's got to give these younger new players a bit of game time to see if they're going to, excel at Celtic. And you know the Celtic model. It's to bring these players in and sell them on. If they have one cracking season, Brendan gets a nice little pay packet at the end of it because he's improved the player and they've sold them on. Celtic board clap their hands and shake their hands and clap each other's back and everyone back slap each other and say, yeah, there's another 10 million in the bank. But it's not happened with these players. It's as simple as that. With all the James love that's going around today, it reminds me of sort of 1988. It was kind of about 1989, which was a kind of summer of love music-wise, and it seems to be there's a lot of love going around Instagram for the one and only James Forrest after his exploits yesterday. First up was Adam Ida, and he put onto his Instagram Jimmy Boy with some smiling faces. Adam Montgomery was at a hotel somewhere, not giving two hoots, and Paulo Bernardo also give a emoji like this with a green heart, and Joe Hart, amongst others, that took to social media after the game yesterday to congratulate the one and only the one and only James Forrest. A lot of love. James Forrest, we love him, says big Joe Hart. And then Joe Hart went on to say, got it done at Celtic FC, and we appreciate you. And that's a direct message to the Celtic fans. Celtic fans did put up a banner yesterday, and it said, you play for us, we'll sing for you. For a lot of the time yesterday, the Celtic fans weren't singing because we thought that the team, well, let's face it, they weren't playing this kind of football that we would expect at Celtic. Now, hats off to Dundee. Yeah, Dundee have basically nothing to play for, and they can try and get a European spot. But let's be realistic here. Celtic are not performing at the levels that we would expect. And that's no disrespect to other teams. It's just that we're not performing at our best. It is as simple as that. Rio Hatase, he put wind emojis up for James Forrest. Louis Palmer, he put up some step-by-step. You could not lace his boots, man. You must look at him and say, I wish I could play like him. But you have this idea that you're going to go off to Spain, lad, and play in Spain. And then he's got a picture of himself. He is an awfully Instagrammable type of person anyway, isn't he? Anyway, on that note, I hope you enjoyed this morning edition of the Celtic News. It's all been about the one person and the one person only who grabbed the headlines and said to everyone around the world and Celtic Park and the training room staff and the players, said, you think you're better than me? Hold my pint. I'm going to show you how to play football the James Forrest way. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.